I'm Dr. Abby Hamilton, and I'm a Filipino-American IO psychologist and two-time TEDx speaker, and I talk about culture and speaking up to be happy, free, and everything we're meant to be. Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Abby, and I'm here with Mark Flores. So Mark is a USF student who has an amazing story when it comes to his journey with deciding on a major. And I think that I know for sure he's not the only one who has had this exact story. Actually, I have a story very similar to yours. But tell us a little bit about you, Mark Flores. Who are you?
So I was born and raised here in Florida, and I had a very, I would say, typical Filipino upbringing. Just my parents tried their best to entrench me within Filipino culture, but also really instill, the American culture that comes with immigrating here into the U.S. And with that, I guess I get the best of both worlds. I'm a mixed bag of perspective when it comes to my identity as a Filipino, but also my identity as an American. So the way I've approached a lot of things just throughout my life has been from that dual perspective versus just a singular one on either or. And I'd say I'm very thankful for that, because one of the biggest things I try to live by is have multiple perspectives and really just consider all of those perspectives before you move forward with pretty much anything.
That's pretty mature. I think that's pretty mature of you, mister, for this college kid. And it's true. I mean, I'm much further in my life than you are, and just now getting that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think it's great that you're balancing. I think it's great that you're finding your voice early. Mm-hmm. But it's a new thing because, like I always talk about the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act that just allowed the Filipinos to come in the masses starting in 1965, which means that those people came and they started their families, and those families are you. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, what's going on? How do I do this? Mixed, what did you call it? Blended, like mixing?
I'm a mixed bag.
Mixed bag life. Okay, so I want to know more about this whole growing up time. Now, your parents came from the Philippines. They tried to raise you here in this non-Filipino environment. So what was it like, let's say, at the dinner table?
So I would set it up. Properly. Like before this, we were talking about etiquette and stuff, and they taught me that at an early age.
The
napkin, how to properly eat. So like stabbing it like this, not like this, and also making sure if you're not done, keep it open and close it when you're finished. So then, if we were at a restaurant, they would take it away. And I think the reason why that kind of came up a lot is because within Filipino immigrants that come here, they see education as the only way towards success. And education can come from anywhere, not education in the traditional sense of a college degree, but also just how you carry yourself. Do you come across as educated, or are you eating like an educated individual would? So that's how I guess it would be in the dinner table. Some other maybe odd things would be I would have to ask if I can be like excused from the table. I couldn't just leave. One thing too that they really hammered home was having a dinner table and eating there. Yeah. They've noticed, or maybe they have like an assumption that maybe a typical dinner with like some families would be more, let's go to the couch and eat, and then watch TV, versus like kind of that familial camaraderie that comes with all of us sitting with each other, no other like stimuli except our own conversation, and then eating with each other like intimately within a table. Okay,
so you had the tradition there, right? And the formality. How about the conversations? Was it mostly like parents talking, kids eating, or did they say, Mark, they used to call you Marky.
Marky Foxy.
Marky, how was your day today? Did they actually ask you, or was it more kind of like stay quiet, children, and just eat your food, and the parents are speaking now?
I think I've been really fortunate with my upbringing, because they recognized maybe some of the things that they grew up with that they didn't want to put on me. So thankfully we were able to talk a bit more. Like they would ask me how my day was, and then I'd go on about it, and then they'd add on to it. So it really felt more, it was still a parent to a child conversation, but it wasn't a parent overtakes the conversation. I was able to get my thoughts out most of the time. stuff like that. So again, I look at other people's experiences and it's like, wow, I'm like really sorry that that happened, because I can't imagine how tough it must have been growing up like that. So
yeah, you should thank your parents, because a lot of people your age who were raised by immigrant parents didn't have that. And they're just now, as a high schooler or even in their career as a professional, just now realizing that they should start speaking up, which is really hard later. And so you're definitely the cream of the crop. You rise to the top kind of person.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So your parents, what are they like now? I mean, you're in college, so how are they feeling about your life now? And I mean, this is new. I was just talking to my mom. She was saying that when you come here from the Philippines, they don't teach you. They don't teach you this is how you raise your children. So they were just guessing.
Yeah.
And there's maybe there's a handbook, but it wasn't well known. So then how are they dealing with you now?
Right now, like in this moment, everything's like perfectly fine. I try to call my mom more. I'm not a very good communicator, so, and I know she misses me. I know my dad.
You're going to be minoring in communication,
Yeah,
so you have no excuse now, Mark. You got to call your mom.
Yeah, put into practice what I'm learning, and I think she'd be proud of that. But like leading up to this point, it was a bit, I wouldn't say difficult. I think the hardest transition coming into college is being completely independent and not having them, I wouldn't say breathe down your neck, but in the broadest term for like a typical Filipino American, maybe they do. So with that, I have a lot of freedom, and the really nice part is that my parents respect that freedom. It's like, if I don't text my mom for like a week and a half, nothing. Like, she doesn't complain about it to me, she doesn't make it, she might say something to my dad, but like, she doesn't let me see it, because she also understands that I'm doing my own thing and developing as my own person. So I'd say that to that Mother's Day thing.
Yeah.
So one thing that I did do was, coming into college, I was in the nursing school, and that is almost the dream of every Filipino parent, at least being in medical, whatever, blah blah blah. But I found out it wasn't for me, and I guess this is more of a tangent, but a lot of the times when Filipino parents kind of push that onto their kids, a lot of them are immigrants, and they came as medical people too, and they survived because of that. So the mentality that these parents still kind of carry on is survival. Yes. And that's why they push medicine, because they know the job security is there.
Yes,
but
exactly.
One thing that I didn't have to explain per se to my parents, but kind of just show with action, is that we are not in, say, like 1970, 1980 when you guys moved here. We are in a very new age where, sure, healthcare is still perfectly fine, but look at all the majors that are offered in college alone. Those majors wouldn't be here if they didn't have some type of postgraduate opportunity for you to live off of. So it's really hard, because they just cannot understand that, because they don't know what that is. They were on more of a survival kind of instinct when they came here. And I don't blame them. I hear the stories. My mom came here with just books and clothes.
Wow.
To become more educated and, work here, so...
I mean, when you have a child, which you haven't yet, okay? When you have a child, you look at this child and you're like, I have all the hopes and dreams for you, child, that you will be successful in this world, and if you become a doctor or a nurse, I know you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Other jobs, I will wonder, and I'll be afraid that you won't make it. So it's scary to change the definition for success for them. So then on Mother's Day,
so I came to the conclusion that I didn't want to be a nurse anymore, because I had no passion, and I was doing it because of them, and I want to do things for myself. That's like the shorthanded story. But when it came to explaining it to my parents, they took it pretty tough, because again, this is the first time I've ever directly opposed something, and it's such a major decision in my life that of course they're going to be upset with it. But I tried my best to, again, explain my reasoning, explain what I found more interesting, and I even came up with examples of jobs that I can get with this current job right now, internships, my plan moving forward. And that was enough for them to at least not, I guess, ask me more about it or continue to, quote, badger me about it. But the fact that now I've applied to these internships and I actually have one, it solidifies my plan more.
You
so
have an internship? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Where?
just landed it. It's all with Partner Care.
Look at you, see?
So I think I can talk and tell them a plan. I can say, I want to be a millionaire by tomorrow. But there's no action to solidify that. So I think that's why they were still apprehensive, because, it's not that they don't doubt my ability, but it's just doubt in general, that they're scared for me because I've never done it, and neither have they. So I'm a fish out of water. I'm by myself, basically. But the fact that I've landed this and I'm continuing to work on information science and all of that, it solidifies the plan that I told them at first. And now they are much more comfortable and really proud that I'm even doing all of this stuff because, again, I don't have any of their help or guidance now. I'm in a field so far away from them that they, I would say, take even more pride now in the fact that I've been able to forge my own path, and I'm continuing to build it and build it and build it to something else.
I think if I were your parent, I would say my son has a brain, and I see him now, and I know that whatever he does, he's going to do the best because he's always done the best at whatever he tried. So, which you did all through school. And now in college, though, you're still learning and growing. But so I really like that. So yeah, Mother's Day was the day you told.
Yeah, that was really tough because it's Mother's Day. But I bought flowers. I was like, Happy Mother's Day. By the way, it's official. But at that point, she accepted it because I talked to my dad afterward and just told him, I'm planning on doing it. So at that point, it already set in, and she was more focused on just enjoying the day and then worrying about that later. And now she doesn't have to worry, which is nice.
She doesn't have to. So are you the kind of son that will pick up your mom and take her out to dinner, or like do you guys sing karaoke like duet together, or do you just sit at the kitchen counter while she cooks?
I would say both of my parents are very reserved in the sense of when we're at a party, they might not be the first people to talk or people to do karaoke. But
how on earth did you come from them then?
Right? I know.
You're so very outgoing.
Thank you. I guess my dad is, I would say, a bit more outgoing than my mom.
Okay.
But because of, I guess, our their more reservedness, I think I've actually gotten a bit closer to them. Because since they like to keep, I guess, not to themselves, but to us as a family, we have a lot more to talk about. We talk about a lot of the issues we see outside, like in the world, or like maybe even within a party, like chismas. Like, I mean, we chismas a little bit, but, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But again, I'm very thankful because I can tell them a lot of things. Not everything, obviously, because, there's just stuff I do where it's like, if they know I was like in danger in any way, I know they'd be very like upset with that. And I'm not saying like I'm going out robbing people, right. But like I went like something like 100 miles per hour in a car one time. And like, right? It's like nothing crazy, but if I told them that, they'd be like, oh, chill out. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
You have good communication there.
Yeah, I try my best. I can tell you right now though that I've either lied to them before or I've withheld the truth until the solution came.
Wow.
So, and that is completely on me. It's not on them. It's more that...
No, it is. It is. I feel it is. Because I'm coming from the parent side, right? We want so much the best for you that you see us put all this hope in you, that to tell us anything to make us disappointed in you,
like scary.
It's very scary. And I'll just tell you this, it's not what we intended. We never intended for you to ever keep something from us. And you still do. I guess it's out of respect, but it is kind of on them because they've made this feeling of like everything should be good. And we talk about that like amor proprio, and the hia, the shame. So everything should be good, and if you have anything other than what is that which is good, you must not bring it up, So I feel like there's something big there. Filipino children who keep things from their parents for that purpose, for the whole expectations, shame, appearances, and all that, are common. We're all, I mean, I did it. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell, I bet you every single person at the whole, all the Filipinos have done it at some point, not just Filipinos. Did you want to say something else about that?
I feel with that specifically,
Mm-hmm.
it might be more in, like right now how I think, it might be like a two-way street in that they've opened up, or not opened up, but they have told me that I can tell them anything.
Yeah.
And I've told them some things that I thought they might be a bit mad about, and they were fine with it.
Okay.
So it's more of me fully trusting that
Mm-hmm.
without setting this expectation that they might bark at me for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I'm like I would say I'd be pretty anxious whenever I'm approached about anything
Mm-hmm.
where I feel like there's repercussions for me, even if they've never done that before. But that's my own ego warping my perception of them.
Yeah.
So that's why I guess I say I felt like it was more on me, because I know they would have been fine with it, because I was working on it still. But it was just more of my own head telling me no, they wouldn't be. So, but it might be just a case by case.
Yeah. When my daughter went to college, I got to a point, I figured they're adults now, and with all of my children, I've said, you've crossed over. You are now. They have this phrase, as a parent. For years, you were the captain of their ship, and at some point, you turn into the lighthouse on the shore.
Yeah.
And you get to watch them as they go the wrong directions, and you're like blinking like crazy, and they're not looking at you. But then when they need you, they'll look at you. Anyway, I remember when my daughter went to college, I would say something like, no, you should do what you want to do. And she would say, and this is very eye-opening, she'd say, I hear what you're not saying.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it was in your head. Mm-hmm. And how do I, as a parent, say, no, you hear what I'm not saying, but then you ignore it. Do your thing. Mm-hmm. And then I told Ryan, I said, Ryan, you're a grown up now. You don't have to work for mommy points anymore. Mm-hmm. And he said, thank you for that, but what if I like mommy points? And I'm like, oh no, So there's definitely some things to unwrap there, but it's very cool that you realize that it's in your head, and then you find out later that it wasn't even that big of a deal. Yeah. So cool. I want to ask you one more thing, and then we'll close out. Okay. You were the cultural director of the Association of Filipino Students.
Yeah, I was cultural chair with my friend Ken.
Okay, with Ken over at University of South Florida. What is something cool about the Philippines that you learned that you didn't know before? You think of a good one? There's lots of really neat things that you're like, I did not know that.
It's hard because we researched every topic that we presented, but I guess before I could say, what is it? I'm trying to think now. Oh my gosh. Oh, the quality of public and private schools. I did not realize the difference between them in the Philippines were so high. So I'm pretty sure, could be wrong, but my friend Ken came from a public school in the Philippines, and then I think I have family that were in private schools. And obviously, there is some disparity even here in the U.S., but back in the Philippines, apparently it's like a much larger disparity when it comes to quality of education, quality of the facilities, etc. Wow. So that was very interesting. And it's crazy because I know it's almost a stereotype that Filipinos will always work hard, but I think it's a positive one. And you can see with Ken, he came out of that public school, and now he's here in a university in the U.S. And that just shows, I guess, just people, the will and the strength that a single Filipino individual can hold and apply it everywhere else, really. Because even now, he works hard for all of the clubs he's a part of. Same thing with his university studies, and just, I guess when you come from such I don't want to say a low place, I don't want to put it down like that, but from such a hard situation, and you work your way out of it, and you're working hard here, it's you can see it in how much time and how much care he puts into everything he does now, because he knows where he used to be.
Yeah,
and now he's here now.
He had to fill the gap in the education that he was missing from not learning as much in the Philippines. So he should get like 2 degrees.
He deserves a lot. That's my guy. So
that's neat. He's a good role model to everybody else. Very cool. Well, I'm so excited that I got a chance to talk to you about this. I expect that in like, let's see, a few years, we'll be able to have a different interview.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and talk to you as your bachelor degree holding, maybe even master's degree holding, working wherever you set your mind to.
I appreciate that. Thank you
for spending this time with us.
Of course.
Mark Flores, everyone. Bye.